We are a river city, a bold city, the First Coast, a place to create and to belong. Here, the sun shines a little brighter, and so do the people. We share a love for our region, a pride for JAX, and a passion for the beautiful game, dedicated to giving everyone a sporting chance. Together, we will elevate soccer and sport in our community by lifting every voice. We are Sporting Club Jacksonville. We are Sporting JAX.
Hello and welcome into the Sporting JAX Report. I'm Cole Pepper. What a week it's been in the world of soccer. Champions League, FA Cup, a league crown in the Premier League. But it's all paled in comparison one of the biggest soccer stories in years. For the first time ever, a team has been promoted 3 straight years in English soccer. Wrexham, the club owned by Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney, has achieved the impossible. And Sporting JAX head coach Stacey Balaam was there. All right, Stacey. You were already scheduled to be in the UK, but you had a chance to be in Wrexham on the day that history was made. What was it like to be there in the midst of all that?
Going there and just getting a sense of what it meant to that town was unbelievable. I mean, you could just see the togetherness in the community. You could just see the camaraderie, the emotion, the passion, and it was electric. And the whole town was absolutely buzzing. I think what helped was there was a result before the game that left it in Wrexham's hands. So once Wrexham kicked off, they knew that the result had to go their way for them to gain that promotion because of the result that happened prior to that game. So I think that there was even a greater buzz about the game itself. So it was a really emotional day for the locals, and everybody was just absolutely ecstatic. And it was really good to be a part of that and just kind of feel that community, that sense of community within the town.
Now, I wonder if you can draw any comparisons or lessons from what you saw at Wrexham as it relates to Sporting JAX.
Some similarities in how we're trying to involve the community and how to get the community behind the club and try and create that fan base from the start. I think that, you know, just seeing how much of an impact Wrexham has made on the town and how much, you know, these American investors have just kind of revitalized the town really and brought it back to life just with a soccer club. You know, it's kind of like the heartbeat of the community, and I would love Sporting JAX to be that heartbeat of the community with so many soccer fans around, to have a team that they can support and love and invest in and feel like it's their family.
Stacey, thank you. Also this week, Sporting JAX announced the hiring of the first assistant coach for Balaam's staff. Alan Kirkup hired as the associate head coach. He has a rich history in the game, including working under Becky Burley at Florida and as a head coach at SMU, Maryland, and Arkansas. And he said the chance to make an impact in Jacksonville was an easy call.
The simple answer is it was easy. You know, I love coaching. I love to be out on the pitch. I like training. The games are almost a bonus. So that part of it was easy. The hard part was, would I feel good with the people that I was working with? I was very fortunate when I was at Florida working with Becky and Vic Campbell. Our coaching relationship was pretty unique for the college game because it's almost like we had 3 head coaches. And there were certainly times when we disagreed, you know, behind closed doors. But once the doors were open, then we were a united front. And again, I'm not sure you find that sort of, what's the best word for this? Collaboration, maybe?
Yeah, Kirkup has experience in the startup situation as well. He launched the SMU soccer program, and he is excited to get things going with Sporting JAX. The next big milestone will be the kit reveal. Sporting JAX is holding a free fan party on Tuesday, May 13th at Friendship Fountain starting at 5 p.m. The inaugural kits will be modeled by players from our W League and League Two teams, with a party to follow where fans can pick up new lines of Adidas swag and order replica jerseys. Also, still to come in the future, the announcement of the first players signed, the USL Super League schedule release, and a stadium announcement. It's going to be quite the next few months as we prepare for the kickoff of the inaugural season later this summer. All right, it's time now for our ViStar USL Championship Game of the Week, and this week it's a Florida rivalry played in a different competition. For the first time this year, the USL Jägermeister Cup includes teams from the USL Championship. As group play began this weekend, the Tampa Bay Rowdies hosted Miami FC in a Florida derby. To St. Petersburg we go. These two teams had met previously just 5 weeks ago, with Tampa Bay winning in that one 2-1 against a 10-man Miami. And in the 8th minute, Danny Cristamano on the break sets up Wubens Pacius for the left-footed shot, and it's 1-0 Tampa Bay. 28th minute, watch this shot from Robert Castellanos. He goes up and gets it with the head. Look at this, just perfect service in by Cammy McPherson. It's 2-0 Tampa Bay. 32nd minute, Rowdies are running again. They cross along the ground, finds the foot of Manuel Artiega. It's 3-0. This one's over early, right? No, not so fast. Second half, Aaron Guillen showing a yellow card for this bad foul in the area on Francisco Bonfiglio. That's a PK, and Sebastian Blanco steps up, and Sebastian Blanco puts it away. 3-1. Miami still trails, but they're on the board. 3 minutes later, Tobias Zarate from the free kick. Look at this beauty. Right in there, and now it's 3-2. 77th minute, Alan Gavilanes sends it ahead to Lucas Milano, and he ties it up from 3-0 down to level for Miami. We would go to a penalty shootout. Miami's connecting here with Kevin Hoyos, and the save by Bill Hamid wins it for Miami. They win it in PKs and take the first game of a group stage match in the Jägermeister Cup. All right, let's now welcome in Mauricio Ruiz. Mau, this game had everything you want. A regional rivalry, cup competition, 3-goal comeback, and a dramatic ending in PKs.
Yeah, it really did, and it looked like the game was over at halftime. Tampa Bay Rowdies were more dominant. They've actually could have scored significantly more goals. Luckily for Miami FC, they got Bill Hamid, as we know, is a former U.S. senior national team player with a lot of experience, so he kept a lot of those shots out of the back of the net. But what a comeback from Miami. No one would have ever seen that. For them to get the result away in a really new competition with the Jägermeister Cup, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it was definitely a great win for Miami. Let's take a look at the USL Championship standings. Now, these are separate from the Jägermeister Cup group stage, but we can see in the West, San Antonio continues to lead with New Mexico United right on their heels. This is going to be a very competitive conference coming up, Mau. What do you expect out of the West the rest of the way?
You know, it's been a couple surprising teams. When you look at FC Tulsa and Monterey Bay and kind of how they've done so well early in the season. You know, it's anybody's game. El Paso had a really poor year last year. So for them to be in the top 5, it's still early, Cole. But when you look at New Mexico and San Antonio, you really have to like what they're doing so far. I'm a big fan of New Mexico. They still have 1 or 2 games in hand to some other teams. So does Tulsa. It'll be interesting to see when the schedule and the matches actually get even, if those 2 teams can actually take over, you know, first and second place.
In the East, a lot of the names we're used to seeing at the top. Lou City certainly up there. Charleston Battery in the top 4. Loudoun United, though, leads. They've been one of the stories so far of the season. While the Premier League season continues, the chase for the top spot is over in the Prem. Liverpool clinched the crown last weekend, just the 2nd league title for the club since 1990. What an accomplishment under a first-year head coach, Mauricio.
It really is probably the best coaching job that we've seen in a long time, and that's saying a lot, you know, especially with Liverpool, with Jurgen Klopp, and with, you know, Man City with Pep Guardiola. But to follow what they've done and potentially even look revitalized, we look at Mo Salah and Virgil van Dijk and Alisson, they really look like the old version of them, you know, maybe the younger version of them of old. So it's pretty impressive to follow Jurgen Klopp and actually clinch. Man City had a down year. Arsenal is struggling to really kind of close the deal, but a very impressive job at Liverpool.
And we also mentioned the story, promotion of Wrexham for the 3rd time in a row up to the championship. Mentioned this early with Stacey Balaam, but this is a story that has really captured the imagination of soccer fans around the world.
It is, and for the American fan base, even if you're not a true soccer fan, but you just enjoy entertainment, it was a really well done documentary, and I think most people have followed that from the very beginning and continue to follow. To get 3 straight promotions, to get 1 promotion is very difficult. To get 3 straight promotions, and now joining the USL, the Premier League, the Championship, right before the Premier League, it'll be interesting to see how they do, and hopefully that feeds a little bit of the appetite of the American ownership market and investment as promotion relegation comes to the USL in the next couple of years. Maybe we see some of those Wrexham stories repeat themselves here in the US.
That would really be something for sure. All right, Mal, thanks so much. More from you coming up in just a bit. A reminder that season tickets are now on sale for the USL Super League's Jacksonville debut coming up in August. Here's a look at the number to call, 904-863-KICK. Tickets start as low as $10 per game for students and go up to the field seats and premium hospitality. You can even pay with an interest-free installment plan. You get all the benefits of season ticket ownership from your first payment. Be a part of the first professional women's team in Jacksonville. Go to sportingjax.com or call 904-863-KICK to join the movement. Still to come, Becky Burley joins us with her perspective on the new assistant coach and a look at the first team to clinch a playoff spot in the USL Super League. That's next as the Sporting JAX report rolls on. As the USL Super League season hurtles toward the playoffs, you can catch every game streaming all season long on Peacock. Let's take a look at the highlights. 2 teams battling for a playoff spot. Spokane Zephyr hosting Tampa Bay Sun, 14th minute. Tampa on the corner. It gets deflected out in front, and it falls to Taylor Eilmer, who puts it away to give the home team the early lead. 25th minute now. Look at this pass from Amina Ekic. Every week she makes things happen. Mackenzie Weinert slots it home, and Spokane is up 2-0. But Tampa would respond. Just 2 minutes later, it's Sydney Nasello. Finds a little open space on the takeaway and the put away. It's 2-1 Spokane. Second half, watch this great passing from Spokane. They are really on the same page. Weinert is the final piece of the puzzle, and she scores to make it 3-1. Spokane will win it 3-2, their 4th win in their last 5 matches. Brooklyn hosting DC Power. Emily Colton with the service and finds Gianna Gorley, who scores the only goal of the match. DC wins away at Brooklyn 1-0. Fort Lauderdale hosting the league's hottest team. First place Carolina. Fort Lauderdale striking early. 3rd minute, Jasmine Hamid scores her 9th goal of the season to open the scoring. It would be far from over. 2 minutes later, Carolina equalizes. Audrey Harding sets up Mia Corbin, and it's 1-1. Harding wasn't done. 17th minute, Carolina is running again, and Harding scoring her 4th goal of the season. It is a beauty. Sent take a 2-1 lead. Second half, Carolina up 3-1, and guess who? Audrey Harding again. 2 goals and an assist for Harding as Carolina wins it 5-2. Look at the bend on that one. A beauty. Finally, Dallas Trinity hosting Lexington SC at the Cotton Bowl. 5th minute, and it's Tamara, after a beautiful through ball, who puts it away on the second touch, and the home team is up 1-0. Lexington would battle back. 69th minute. Shea Moyer goes over the top to find Hannah White. Nice bit of skill right here to get some room and put it away. We're level at 1, but Dallas just has too much. Cameron Lancaster with a takeaway and gets it to Celie Strawn, who chips for the goal. Dallas wins it 3-1 at home. And here is how the standings look as of the moment in the USL Super League, getting down to the wire. Top 4 teams will make the postseason. Carolina has clinched a playoff spot. Dallas Trinity trying to get a little room there with Tampa Bay and Fort Lauderdale, the 2 Florida teams to follow. Keep an eye out for Spokane, though. They are really climbing and are trying to catch the top 4 for a playoff spot at the end of the season. We now welcome in Becky Burley. All right, let's talk about the hiring of the new Sporting JAX assistant, Alan Kirkup. You certainly have some history with Alan.
I sure do, and it's great history. I really enjoyed coaching with Alan. He's just a consummate professional. He's great at player management. He's great at every part of the game that you would hope from a professional. That's what he's very good at. Like he's exceedingly good with the media. And what I like about him most is his teaching ability. I've never been around somebody who teaches the game as well as Alan. And what I mean by that is he has an ability to take like complex situations and make them very simple and understandable for the players. And when you have clarity, he makes it look easy. But what I can tell you from behind the scenes is like getting that simplicity and clarity is a lot harder than it looks. And he's a master at that.
He also has head coaching experience, so he'll know what a head coach needs from an assistant.
And you know what the beauty of that is, even when I was coaching with Alan, because he left head coaching to become an assistant for me, which I was very flattered about because I thought he's had such a great career as a head coach on his own. But it allowed me to, have like one-on-one conversations with Alan and be like, okay, how would you handle this as a head coach? Because he's been there and done that. And so having that experience is going to be vital.
All right, let's talk about the USL Super League. This week, as we mentioned, Carolina Ascent clinched the first playoff spot in league history. It has been quite a season for Carolina.
Again, I've said this a number of times, but I really expected for Carolina to be a front runner in this league just based on the preparation, based on their staff selections, all those kind of things. And I think when you have somebody with the experience that they have at the helm, there's no question that was a big step in the right direction. But just like throwing money, it doesn't guarantee anything new. There's preparation. So what I'm excited about is having a team clinch, and then seeing now where all these other teams sort of fall.
All right, Becky, thank you so much. If you sign up for season tickets now for the USL Super League season, you'll receive a limited edition inaugural season scarf. Be a part of the first pro women's team in Jacksonville history. Go to sportingjax.com or use the QR code on your screen for more. Still to come, our youth soccer spotlight. More on how the Sporting JAX Foundation is bringing the game to more of our community. That's next as the Sporting JAX report rolls on. We are less than 2 weeks away from Sporting JAX unveiling the inaugural kit, but you can already get official Sporting JAX merchandise, from shirts and hats to sweatshirts and scarves. Go to sportingjax.com/shop to get your official club gear today. And it is time now for the Youth Soccer Spotlight presented by the Bearded Pig Barbecue. Today we're hearing more about the free soccer clinics put on by the Sporting JAX Foundation at the KIPP schools. Last week we showed you some of the action from the first clinic held at the KIPP Bold City High School. And this week we wanted to hear more from some of the players, coaches, and parents who participated and why the program has already become so meaningful.
I mean, it just means that it's not just about those that have a connection and know who is on the board or who is the staff there. It's actually, this is something that's for the community. That's not just who I heard it from. It's more like it's for everybody. Like, you're not excluded. I like stuff like that.
The field is amazing, very well intact, and it helps the kids as well because you're not worried about like uneven grounds or any of those things.
What would you tell your friends?
That I just met a great soccer camp thing, and that I would love for them to go to experience it.
It's great. I mean, being part of it is the best, and I think it can help not just me but all these kids, and he's gonna go far.
Again, really excited about the opportunity. When we told our families, they were excited. Our middle school athletic directors, we have 3 middle schools on the north and west side of Jacksonville. They were all eager to get their students to sign up to come out and play. We do have a big interest in soccer at our west side campus, KIPP Impact Academy. So a lot of those students were able to sign up and come out and participate in these sporting clinics.
They'll be back on the field next 3 Saturdays with the clinics, and we'll have more announcements of the Sporting JAX community, Sporting JAX Foundation in the community, coming up in the near future. Mauricio, this is really a huge part of what Sporting JAX is all about, making that connection to the community and spreading the game of soccer to kids who might not necessarily have the same kind of access to the game.
Well, Cole, these are the wins off the field that matter the most, is not only introducing soccer to maybe areas and people that soccer's not in their blood or not in the background, but just bringing impact in the community. You saw the young people talking about how much fun they had. Maybe that's what's going to inspire them to become healthier or inspire to get an education, because sports and education and health, all of that marries really well together. So these are the wins that you really need to stack up as an organization, especially before you kick off, in the next season. And that job continues as you have players and coaches, because they can now get incorporated into that community service work.
Exactly right, and that'll be happening in the very near future. Mal, thanks a lot. More from you coming up in just a bit. For more on Sporting JAX in the world of soccer, join Mark Warburton, Stacey Balaam, and me every Tuesday night at 6 on 1010XL. It's the Coaches Show presented by Sporting JAX. You can listen on air or online at 1010XL.com. And be sure to join Mauricio Becky and me every Thursday night at 6 for the Sporting JAX Soccer Hour. We cover the entire soccer world, including Sporting JAX and the USL. Thursday nights at 6 on AM 930, Fox Sports Radio Jacksonville, or the iHeart app. Still to come, the Premier League champion has been crowned, but there's still more to be earned. You look at the race for the Champions League spots as the Sporting JAX report rolls on. You can watch the Sporting JAX report just about every Saturday at noon on NBC 12. Most weeks, that's immediately before Premier League soccer on NBC. Next week, we will also be able to be found on First Coast News Plus and the Sporting JAX YouTube channel. Coming up tomorrow, Nottingham Forest travels to Crystal Palace. Mauricio, this is an important match for Forest especially. They were as high as third most of the year. Now they're battling for a spot in next season's Champions League.
Oh, if you look at who should not be in that top 6 or certainly top 5 for Champions League spots, Nottingham Forest is not one of them. By recent name, because they're battling Newcastle, Manchester City, Chelsea, Aston Villa. One of those names is going to be left out, and Nottingham Forest probably had the better season of all of them up to this point. Now they're a little shaky. Hopefully they can capture this win against Crystal Palace and get ahead and stay ahead, so they can, get what they deserve, and they deserved a really good season this year.
On the flip side, Palace has had a little bit of a rough go, but they've started to put things together a little bit. What's in it for Palace right now?
For Palace, they have the FA Cup still, and now it's a moment to build into next year. They maybe finish top 10 would be a goal, that they had in mind going into this season. Certainly playing an FA Cup final is huge for them. That's where their focus is going to be. But they're a team that constantly gives everybody problems. So they could be the spoilers to Nottingham Forest. I think that will feel really good for them as well.
There is a lot to be played for, and if you are used to watching a league that has playoffs, you might think, well, this is in essence a playoff race for all these teams trying to get in Champions League for next year. Even though the top position for Liverpool has already been clinched, there are going to be a lot of important games coming down the stretch.
Yeah, the battle is typically at the top or at the bottom. Those two have kind of been settled for a couple of weeks now, so now the battle is in the middle. And it's a bit of a pride and certainly positioning, jogging for position within a top 6. So Brighton and Bournemouth, Brentford, Crystal Palace, they've all had really good seasons. Can they finish top 10? Is that a pride thing for them? Because it doesn't really matter if you finish 8 or 12. I think there's some money ramification in there. But finishing top 10 in the Premier League is saying something.
Yeah, that would be major for sure. Mauricio, thanks so much. We'll talk to you next week. You can always stay in touch with what's happening with Sporting JAX on our social media channels and right here on the Sporting JAX Report. We'll talk to you next time.